There are more things on Iago and Earth to talk about than The Last Jedi. Let's take a quick break for a review of this fantastic comic.
How you get so big into food of this kind?
Alright, yeah, so we're going to talk about the Captain Phasma graphic novel, which was part of the Journey to the Last Jedi, which is books and materials that were released specifically to get people excited for the movie. I will not talk about The Last Jedi in this, so if you haven't seen it, don't worry. I will also not spoil this comic while reviewing it. There's little I can say about Captain Phasma, the character, that hasn't already been said. If you've only seen the movies, you probably think she's just kind of a one-off random character and you're not sure what all the fuss is about. If you've been reading the expanded universe, like me, she's one of your favorite characters. It's almost become cliche at this point to say that she's the sequel trilogy's Boba Fett, but she's basically the sequel trilogy's Boba Fett. But all that aside, I'm not really here to talk to you about the movies, I'm here to talk to you about this comic, and this is Phasmatastic. I mean, it's like 5 out of 5 porgs, seriously. In a lot of ways, this was published specifically to fill a plot hole from The Force Awakens, which is, Phasma lowers the shields. Why does she do that? Doesn't anyone care? Aren't people mad about this? What this gets into is just what Phasma's motivations were behind it, and the story that comes from it. Effectively, Phasma lowers the shields, and is then aware that that's going to not go over super well for her, so the whole crux of the comic is she changes the logs so that it looks like she never lowered the shields, and then she wants to pin it on someone else. But that someone else is getting away, and if he survives the destruction of Starkiller Base, then Phasma will be found to be a traitor. And, like, all of that comes out in just the first couple panels, so there's a lot going on here, and it's a very fast-paced story. Again, there's any number of videos that will tell you how impressive, how powerful, how driven Phasma is as a character. This comic really shows it. Like, if you are on her hit list, you're dead. End of story. I really enjoyed getting to see her in action. I loved the novel Phasma by Delilah S. Dawson, which is another great read. I've also reviewed it. You can click on the thing, check it out for yourself. And so it was just really fun for me because the novel was all about how Phasma became Captain Phasma. This is all about Captain Phasma doing Captain Phasma things. If you want to see what she's like in action and you want to know what her life is like in the First Order, this is for you, and trust me, it's exciting. But more than that, what I really liked is this was just a zany space adventure. She goes to this kind of off-the-beaten-path planet, weird aliens, and there's people who have forgotten their old culture and are trying to forge a new one, and there's just so much going on, and the hilarious part is there's all of this kind of cultural context, and all Phasma wants to do is just shoot a guy in the head. So there's all of this complexity going on around her, and she's navigating it aptly, but also doesn't give a crap. And that gets highlighted in the way that I think this graphic novel most effectively uses its own medium, and I'm always excited by any story that just embraces the medium it's being told in. So throughout the graphic novel, Phasma is writing her report for what happened on Starkiller Base, and so you get the little text boxes of what her report says, and her describing what happened, but you are watching her describe what happened while something completely different is going on, and there's just this layer of reading one thing but seeing another that's really unique to comics. Novels are only text-based, and films are only visual-based. Comics are that one medium where you can play with words and pictures at the same time, so I really appreciated it. I thought it was having a lot of fun with the way they were telling the story. Beyond that, the artwork in this is stunning. It also adds a lot to Phasma's character. So Phasma is Chrome Dome. She is the only stormtrooper we have ever seen that looks like her. She's the only stormtrooper we've really seen with special armor in the films, different in the expanded universe, but on screen, she's the only unique looking trooper we've ever had. And this comic really utilizes that. When she lands on this new planet, the color scheme and everything, the way the art was done on her armor, everything's so reflective, and it really felt like not only is this armor going to defend her from the environment or defend her in a battle, it's literally reflecting what's coming at her back onto itself. She is so unaffected by her environment, by her circumstances, by her context. It bounces right off of her. She does not become a part of whatever system she is in. She is always her own operator, and the visual element of her armor, to make a pun, reflects that even more. I also appreciate how at one point she takes on a disguise, and even in a disguise, she's wearing a mask. You still don't see her face, and that's been a running theme and everything. I mean, to the extent that we know what she probably looks like under her helmet is to the extent that we know what Gwendolyn Christie looks like. And I really like how that adds to the mystery of the character. She remains this mystery and this enigma, which is really Phasma's goal at all points in time. She doesn't want anyone to know anything about her. And that is so intense that there's one point where she's having a flashback to her life before she became Captain Phasma, which again is brilliantly described in the Phasma novel, and this is a reference that will really mean more to you if you've read the novel. You certainly don't have to have read the novel in order to get what's being conveyed, it just means more. And she slips up. This is the first time I've seen Phasma slip up. She verbalizes something from her past. Again, I don't want to spoil the comic, but there is a character who is with Phasma a fair amount in the story. I think hearing that slip up from Phasma might have more of an impact on her than that character realizes, which would mean more if you'd read it. So go read it and then we'll talk about it. And to all of this stuff about her being a free agent, she doesn't care about the First Order. It's very clear in the Phasma novel, it's very clear in this comic. She doesn't care. She likes the First Order because the First Order gives her the ability to have power over people and go do what she wants to do. The First Order could fall for all she cares. She would just go find another way to have power. So then wherever her character seems weak in The Force Awakens, it's because I think we had this impression that she has the special armor and she's a captain, so she must be just a trooper's trooper in the First Order. But that's just not the case, and I really like this. We've always seen the free agent, free operator character from the side of the good guys. You know, Han Solo started that way. Lando Calrissian started that way. You get these kind of third-party people who fall in with the good guys because the good guys aren't going to just shoot you where you stand when you show up. I like seeing this free operator in the bad guys' camp. She's someone that the First Order so fully believes in. At one point in the comic, she has a conversation with General Hux, and Hux is completely for her and doesn't see her for what she really is. I don't know, I just think it's really cool. So that's really what I have to say on the topic of this graphic novel. Highly suggest you read it. Even though you may have already seen The Last Jedi, I read this after seeing The Last Jedi. I don't think I lost anything from the film for not reading it first, but I don't think I lost anything from the comic for reading it after either. It's a great read. If you like watching Imperial/First Order baddies going off and doing things, if you like stories that are about characters and not people with force powers, this really is something for you. I highly, highly recommend it. And you don't need any other knowledge other than seeing The Force Awakens in order to really get what's going on here. Should have more Last Jedi stuff coming up soon. Like I said, I just was so excited about this. I wanted to take a break from breaking down the movie and discuss this. Hope to see you around the boards. Come check us out. And until next time, keep it real and fly casual.
Cooking can be fun.